really happy about this chance to present in 2 minutes, about 10 minutes, 4 years of activity of the Research Gallery.
5.5?
No, 4 and a couple of months, actually. I did count it. There is the exact dates of the exhibition, so I really know what I'm talking about.
Yes, 5.5.
At the end, count. We're talking about number. Okay, so I'm in between the 2 sections because. Okay, so I'm in between the sections because we're not dealing only with science, although we are dealing there also with science. And when we're talking about the Research Gallery, it's the same space of the gallery that you've probably seen downstairs, but we get specific slots of times of exhibitions which are related to the activities of the Integrated Design Master's Program. We're dealing mainly with the subjects which are on the interface between designs, science, technology, and art also. We're also dealing a lot with social and political issues, having a critical approach, all the big names that Daniel has mentioned earlier before. So for us, the gallery is basically an expansion of the classroom. And when I'm talking about we, I was the curator of the gallery, but I was collaborating a lot with faculty, a lot with Sayfan and Lila, who is not here, and other faculty members, with graduates, which is for me was a fantastic thing to do, and with students. And the next exhibition that we're going to show, I'm inviting you now. On July 19th, it's going to be a result of a course that I'm leading here in the program with students. It's going to be on algorithmic and integrated and generative design, which becomes now really relevant due to the ability of machines to automate creative abilities. So I'm doing it with students. They took part in the research, they're going to take part in the design of the exhibition and the production. So this is next month. So I'm going to give a very brief review of the 8 exhibitions that we did so far. So there are students here, there are graduates from different periods. So some of you have seen something, some of the exhibition, but I think that besides Dror and Dana and Eitan maybe, nobody's seen the whole, all the exhibitions. So the first one, I will really go briefly on each one of them. The first one was quite exceptional. We opened the gallery a couple of months after the death of the former dean of the faculty, Professor Boaz Tal, who died from cancer, as I said, a couple of months before. And he was here you can see an overview of the exhibition. He was a very, very interesting artist, actually a photographer. And he was dealing with a lot with the concept of death. This is one photo from a series of Pietà works that he did. There is a whole tragedy. It was photographing his family. For me, it was a very, very heavy exhibition. I think I was the first curator to enter his studio after his death. And okay, so this was the first one. And the next one was also very heavy, but from a totally different point of view. It was called Syrian People Know Their Way. In 2012, I met in Europe a group of Syrian activists. It was 2012. It was still in the time when we're calling the what's happening in Syria as a Syrian uprising, which was part of the Arab Spring, and there was still a hope that something good is going to happen in Syria. And as you can see, there is a lot. I'm just giving really a few sentences on each one of the exhibitions. As you can see, we decided to curate it not as a regular posters exhibition, But as you can see, in the middle of the space, there is a huge table, which was kind of a sound installation or acoustic installation from which, from within, a protest song was resonating. And we laid on this table books, very large-scale books with almost 300 posters that were available on the internet. And we went through a very intensive, comprehensive research process. I was working with experts from Tel Aviv University, who were not only translating the posters, but also contextualizing them, and gave me the context of the posters, the text, the relevancy to Arab literature, to religious scripts, political and social issues in Syria. So it was really fascinating to see not only the design and the typography of these posters, but the issues that they were relating to, like, for instance, feminist issues at the beginning of the uprising, as you can see on the right side. The analogy they made between the situation in Syria and the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The way they related to Syria, the involvement of Syria of Russia, sorry, in Syria at that time. It didn't get to the extent that it is now, and the poetic graphics, which was really fascinating. So there were hundreds of them. For me, it was a great lesson. Okay. Very shortly, another exhibition, one animation per day. We showed for 10 days animations from Royal College of Art in London, from the animation department. Students, visitors were invited to sit down for a couple of minutes, see a movie once or even twice, read an interpretive text on each one of the movie, come the other day, see another movie for 10 days. So this was kind of a short and small exhibition. I see that I'm starting, as usually, to run out of time, so maybe I read a little bit. The next one was the cartography of the unseen, which offered a political reading of mapping. Here you can see an overview. And here we tried to see how mapping is used by mechanisms of concealing and revealing, how they convey political messages in different areas around the world. And we had them from Baghdad and from Palestine and from Africa and from really all over the world. Really fascinating maps. And we tried to see, we showed with the use of new technology how big companies have taken control of knowledge previously regulated by nation states on the one hand, and enabled democratization of mapping on the other hand. The exhibition offered critical reading of mapping by relating to mapping, not just in terms of representation, but representation of reality, but first and foremost as reality generators. And in the design of the exhibition, we tried to make the 3D space of the exhibition as kind of a meta map of the whole exhibition, of the different maps in the exhibition, and we tagged the different maps. So there was a whole tagging system which was mapping the exhibition. I was working on this exhibition with Sayfan, and I'll drop the just two examples. Palestinians use mapping as a performative approach while the West Bank right-wing people from the West Bank are using a geographic, quite anachronistic approach to mapping. We had maps from Mauthausen, activists in Madrid who were mapping air pollution, or critical approach to Google politics through the work that you see on the left side. The next work, the next exhibition was done also with students. Tom was one of them. That I see a couple of you. She had to go, but I see others as well. And it was wonderful for me to work with the students. They actually made this exhibition. And our main theme was open source design. We dealt also a lot with hacking and maker, the maker movement, which is connected, of course, to open source design. And through this process, by the way, I don't know how many of you have been in the Israel Museum. I was just told I didn't have the time yet to see, but I understood that there is an exhibition with the signs of an apartment. So Hadass, it was your idea, I think, and that we did it already 2 or 3 years ago. So we took an application an open source application that enables us to plan flat, and we marked different living areas in the gallery, and everything that you see here was done by the students with open source facilities. And actually, we were quite so they spent a lot of time in the Fab Lab, and what was quite surprising at that time to see how much talking there is about open source, and how little you can really do with this when you want to design things or to produce things. Yeah, for us it was quite a disappointment to see this huge gap. And also the decoration for the gallery was a painting that was done by a robot, which was manufactured through open source, with open source codes. So not yet already. Yeah, I'm okay with time? Okay. I'm running out of time, so I do it fast. Okay, so not yet already architecture and animation. You can see, okay, it presented animated films created in 7 of the world's leading architects' firms and architectural research-oriented offices who have been using computer-generated animation in a way which is transforming architectural design and production processes. You can see the list of participants, and this was, on the one hand, the production processes to do with time-based, to think of architecture in temporal terms. On the one hand, thinking about emergence processes, new materiality, and all these themes on the one hand, and on the other hand, using practices from advertisement and commercial animation as a way to represent a new way of representing animation in our capitalist society, which was kind of the most avant-garde thinking on the one hand, and on the other hand, thinking in the most commercial ways, kind of commercializing animation. And yeah, this is the setup of the exhibition, and these are some of the works with the Hadid, the new in studio, and MVRDV, Dilo Scufidio, and Hans Meyer. The next exhibition was Biodesign, Design Hybrids, that presented works created by scientists, designers, and artists that reflected different approaches to work with biological tools. Since time is running, I'm not going to elaborate. And the last work, the last exhibition was the new craft. We challenged the borders between design and craft, investigating materials and methods of production from the most basic to the most advanced, and promoted renewal thinking about relationship between man and its physical environment, which was a very central issue in this exhibition, and the objects surrounding it. So these are some of the works, and I just want to invite you, July 19th, what hour I don't know yet. We're probably going to have a guest from Italy who's coming especially from that. Sorry? Okay.